Hi and welcome to my channel. We are hand knitting a happy head today in the light teal by Bernat blanket bag, and all you're going to need is a pair of scissors, a ball of yarn, any color you want, a measuring tape, and your fingers. So let's get started. Today I'm going to show you how to make a happy head ear warmer. I'm using Bernat blanket bag, and this is the light teal color. You can use any color you want. So first you're going to find the end. I like to unwind a little bit, so I have something to work with. This is a super fast, easy hand knit project that you can make. They're really great for gifts. So I like to leave a little bit of a tail because that is going to be what you're going to tie the two ends together. So if you're unsure, just leave more because you can't add. So I would leave like a foot maybe. You're going to start with a slip stitch. So you're coming over and bringing the working yarn underneath, and then you're going to tighten. So you don't need the loops to be too big. So I would use about 2 fingers on this one. And we're going to make 2 more stitches. So we're making 3 in total. This is 1. You're going to bring your working yarn, which is the yarn that's attached to your ball, through the back. Okay. And you're going to do that one more time. Working yarn comes through. And they don't need to be very big, but you want them to be consistent. And now what we're going to do is bring the working yarn through that last loop. Okay. And now the top of your second is where you're going to bring in the next loop. Okay. And what you're going to do is have both of these loops on one finger, and the working yarn is going to go through both loops. So that's a single crochet. Okay. And then again, the top loop, you're going to bring the working yarn through. So you have 2 loops on your finger, and it's a single crochet. You're going to bring the working yarn through. Now you're going to stitch 1. So through that stitch, you're bringing the working yarn through, and then you're going to turn your project. Okay, now I'm going through the 2 top stitches, and we're going to single crochet, and you want to keep it a little bit tight. And then here you're going to find the next stitch. So we really are just working through 2 stitches now. The third one's just so that you can get 2 stitches. So you bring that through, and then you stitch 1. Okay, you twist, and again you find the 2 loops, bring your yarn through, and again you're working through the 2 top stitches and bring the yarn through. And if you're making this for an adult head, the size is going to be 22 inches. Mine end up being, I think, about 22.5 once they're connected. And you just work as many rows as you need to get to that 22 inches. So I always have a measuring tape to make sure that we get to the right length, and then I stop. So again, most important is just keeping the tension and making sure all the loops are consistent, that you don't have anything that gets too big or too tight, because then you're going to have inconsistency in the pattern. So I'm going to work this up to my 22 inches, and I will come back. Okay, so we're at 22 inches, and to close off, you stitch through, except you're just going to pull through a tail and cut off the end. And then you're just going to pull and tighten that stitch to close off. And now what you're going to do is you're going to meet the two ends together. And there's no real technique here. You just are going to find a spot to pull through the yarn and close it off. So sometimes I like to come through again across the top. So you're just going to weave in your tails into spots that you find are, like, you want to go through the tighter spot here rather than a big loose hole, because that will help keep it really nice and neat. So you just come through, pull together. So like, I don't love that there's a lot of room here, so I'll go through just like a few extra times, which is why you also want to have more room on your yarn. Okay, and then I'll go through again here, because you want to make sure that they're closed. And then now you have like an open space, and you just want to make sure that, again, you're finding spots to come through, and you may have to go through like a few spots more than once, but you'll see, like, just, you don't want to do too much. But what's really nice about this stitch is that everything kind of gets hidden, which is great. So it doesn't really matter where exactly you go through. But again, you just want to find kind of the tighter spots, because that'll help make it more of a tight closure. So I'll go through here, come through here. And then again, so just come through and close it off wherever I see best. Okay, so that looks pretty neat to me. And then I'll just flip it over. The tails are also pretty close together now. So I just tighten it once and then tighten it a second time. Oh. And then I cut off the ends. And then you just want to see if it pills anywhere. And that's it. And there you have it. Your happy head.